Hi dolls! Today I'm going to be talking about how I knew I was trans. If you're new to the channel, I'm Kylie. I'm 22 years old and I'm living in LA. I'm a trans girl and I just talk about trans topics and my journey and my surgeries and all that jazz. So let's get into it. I have known I was trans ever since I knew what trans was. But before that, when I was really young, like maybe 4 or 5, I just knew that something was wrong. That everything girly just appealed to me. And everything masculine was just not me. I have this vivid memory of being at my cousin's house as a kid and trying on a little pink tutu and then just like going down the stairs for my parents to see and then being like, take that off of him. And for me, that was so sad because like, I just wanted to be a girl, you know? And I couldn't because everyone saw me as a boy. And then when I got a little older, sometimes I go to my grandma's house. I would always play as Princess Peach in Mario Party whenever I could. Like literally whenever I could, I would always argue with my cousin about getting to play Princess Peach in Mario Party. And I would sometimes go stay up in a room upstairs and I would try on like bras and like swimsuits that were up there, and I'd wear heels. And I remember I have this one memory where my mom, where I was wearing heels up there, and my mom started coming to the room, and I was a little kid, like a little girl, and I hid my feet. I tried to hide my feet in the crack of the bed because I heard her coming. So the bed was against the wall, so I was just my feet were just in there against the wall. And she came in and she was like, what are you doing? And she was like, what are you doing down there? And then she saw that I was wearing heels, and I was so embarrassed and so sad and so scared she'd be angry. And she was just like, it's okay. It's okay. But I wish, I had the courage to come out. Or I directed this little movie as a kid, directed with my dad. It was just my dad and I. It'd actually be hilarious if I uploaded it at some point, but I don't think I ever will. Called Scared Puffles, like the Puffles from Club Penguin. And I added this whole scene into it where I play a nurse and wear a wig and just a dress. I really always just knew that I was a girl. And I think when I finally got access to the internet, I probably started looking stuff up. Why do I feel like a girl? Why am I a boy who feels like a girl? Why do I want to be stuff like that? I'm sure I did. I don't know exactly what I looked up, but I think, and I don't know, I found out about trans folks, and it took a little bit because I was very deep in denial and trying very hard to be a boy and thinking, I don't know, but I would see things in Futurama. There's an episode where they all switch genders, or I think Johnny Test too. And as a kid, that stuff was it was the dream. And I don't know why, but I felt like I couldn't be a girl around the people who I loved. Which is really scary because that's who I am, And I think, I would secretly dress up at home. Whenever my mom was gone, I'd wear her clothes, and she totally knew about it and totally figured it out because it wasn't very subtle, but whatevsky. One second, my DoorDash got here. Okay, so back to the video. But yeah, it wasn't very subtle, and filter, come on. And there was one point when I was just looking in the mirror, all dressed up, being oh, I must want to be a girl. That must be what's going on here. No shit. I dreamt of being a girl day after day after day for my whole life, every second of every day. But for whatever reason, acknowledging it to myself just made it real. And I found out about transitioning and about hormones and all this stuff, and I would watch transition timelines every night for years, just wishing that one day that could be me. And I was so scared to come out. I was literally I was terrified. I don't know, I was terrified of losing everyone, even though I didn't really have anyone in my life. Nobody knew, not my family, not my friends, Like later on, I asked my mom. She just thought I was probably gay or something, and she didn't really know. But I'd also have girlfriends because I like women for the most part. So no one really knew what was up. And that was really hard for me. And I think in high school, I finally started to really accept myself more. I'm not sure how much I can really say about this, but I don't know. I guess I started to try experimenting with like psychedelics, if you know what I'm talking about, and like shiitake mushrooms, and I don't know, it really started to help me accept myself because I had this whole built up like ego of me trying to pretend to be a guy and thinking, okay, well, I'll just do this my whole life, and then maybe the afterlife will be cool or whatever, or I'll just make a lot of money and then I won't think about how all I want in this world is to be a woman. Like it, you know what I'm like, like weird denial things. And when I finally had my first girlfriend, at a certain point, it was like, okay, like I'm a woman and I can't pretend not to be. So I came out to her, and she accepted me, which really meant a lot. And I don't know. I just slowly accepted myself. I got little long fingernails like this, back when I was fully male presenting. And I just like tried to tell myself, oh, that doesn't signal anything to anyone. They'll still think I'm just a straight guy with like pastel rainbow French tips on my acrylic nails. Like, girl, in what world is no one seeing that and clocking my tea? Like, but it's okay. It's okay. And yeah, I went to college and I had this whole plan that I was going to come out from day one in college. But I got scared. I got so scared. And I didn't. But I met this really cool girl who I had a huge crush on, and I came out to her, and this was like, mind you, I didn't really have a crush on her for a while. Like at first we were just friends, and I ended up going through a breakup early on in college, and then I had a huge crush on her. And I came out to her, like, no funny business, but then I came out to her, and she was really accepting. She was a straight girl, so it was confusing, I think for both of us, but especially for me, because, I was learning to accept the reality that, like, straight girls weren't gonna like me. Like, the people who were gonna like me were gay girls and bi girls. But I didn't come out until eventually I had, been experimenting more with the stuff, and I don't know why, there's a big stigma against stuff like that, like shiitake mushrooms and like tab soda, and I don't know how much I can say. This might be totally unnecessary, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's okay. And honestly, I think it's very therapeutic if you do it safely. And I read this book, Be Here Now by Ram Dass, and just all this stuff led me to accept myself more and more. And then eventually there was this moment when I was like reading that book and just, and I looked in the mirror and I was like, for the first time ever, I saw myself, and it was like, oh my God, like I'm a beautiful woman, regardless of how I look. That's what I am on the inside. And like in that moment, I just decided I can't pretend anymore. So I took my little name tag that was on my door that had my old dead name on it, and I flipped it over and I wrote Kylie, and then I was Kylie. And it was, coming out wasn't perfect, but it was beautiful, and I got to come out and be the woman who I am. And I never looked back. And what was funny is my roommate, he knew, because he lived with me very closely, and he saw how I'd weirdly be hiding in the closet sometimes, how I'd take a long time in the shower sometimes, how I would talk about the girls that I liked, like being like, oh, do you think she's gonna text me back? Like showing him all the texts in the girliest little way, and he was like, yeah, I knew you were a girl. And he was actually very nice, and and I never looked back on it. And that's my little coming out story, and just how I knew I was a woman, like a trans girl. But yeah, if this was helpful to you, good. I just wanted to share a personal story. I do have some Pokemon cards to open. I got the new set. So let's see if I can. Okay, well, I got the Hops Zacian EX. It's the new set Journey Together. What's crazy is I also have 2 packs of Scarlet and Violet somewhere, but they disappeared on me. So I don't know what happened, but hopefully they turn up. I'm in the process of anyways, going through all my stuff. So maybe I put them somewhere weird. But let me open this up and we'll do a pack opening. One sec. Okay, so here we are, Pokemon Journey Together. If you've made it this far, how about you subscribe and follow my Insta and other socials. They're all in my bio. And like and comments and all that stuff that helps the channel grow. I would love to see this grow really big. Eventually be something that I get sponsorships for and just, be really cool. Okay. Oh my gosh, it does not want to open. 1 second. Come on now. Okay, 1 second here. Okay, so I got it open. I don't quite remember how to do the trick. Here's the TCG pocket code for whoever wants it. But let's get into it. So first up, we have a Torchic. Ooh, excuse me. A Lilligant, looking very elegant. A Graveler, excuse me. This little worm guy. What's this? Lily's Pearl. Greedinit. Postwick Foil Trainer. Kamala Harris. And Iono's Kilowattrel is the rare. That's cool. And the rare is a foil. So, pretty cool. Nice little pack. 3 foils in there. But yeah, you know what? Let's do... No, I promised myself only 1 per video. But thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all the support on these recent videos. We're almost at 3,400 subs, which is actually a lot. It's really cool. As the subs grow, my goals start changing. When I was at 300 subs, the goal was 400. Now that's at 3,000, the goal is 4,000. It just keeps scaling up. But that's so cool to see. And the growth on this channel has been awesome. And y'all have been such an awesome community to talk to and just... Yeah. But thank you for watching. Thank you for all your support. Love you. Bye.